Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Welcome back to the Jeff Crilley Show. It's Sarah Crilley filling in for my dad. Don't worry, he will be back next weekend. So, all right, this is one of the segments I've been waiting for. For those of you who don't know what the carpool line is, don't worry. Melissa Plaskoff is here to talk about it with us, and we are thrilled to have her here, aren't we, Kevin?
Yeah, I've seen this guest somewhere before, I think.
Me too,
I
somewhere.
feel like this is my happy place. This is happy hour at, what time is it? 11:35 on a Saturday
Mimosas,
morning.
where are they?
It's kind of weird, the three of us reunited on another show.
I know. I don't know. It's weird, but it's kind of like when you see your teacher outside somewhere else and you don't really know what to do. I feel like, but it's going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
We will survive.
Oh, yeah.
So, and just to fill in our listeners, we all are a part of this Carpool Talk Show, and I want Melissa to fill everyone in. Number one, what is the carpool line? And number two, how did the show get started?
Okay, so the carpool line, for all of you listening, is this horrible hour or moment that you have daily while you're waiting to pick up your children. And typically, I mean, depending if you want to be like an eager beaver and you get to school early and you pick up your child, you don't want your kid to be like the last one in line. So you get there and you sit there and you wait after you've checked your email and maybe your social media. There's really nothing to do. So you're waiting for your kid, and that's really what the carpool line is about. Now, in the carpool line, there are different ways to navigate through it. There's a lot of rules, and it's typically like a lot of learning at parent orientation night. So it's a little stressful. And if you look around the carpool line area, waiting time, people are like typically in a bad mood.
And you personally have been through 3 carpool lines, 3 kids, 3 different carpool lines. And so you're sitting there thinking, gosh, something's got not to change. Clearly, nothing will change, but we need something, don't we?
There had to be a solution. So one day I had just an idea, a moment, and I said, you know what? There needs to be a show. There needs to be content for parents, nannies, daddies, mommies, aunts, uncles, whomever, sitting in the line, something for them to listen to while they were waiting that could change the mood, make them smile. And I wanted there to be information or content for everyone. So we have information like 5-minute apps from the front seat, so there are no excuses. We have information on books. We have an author coming on this week talking about balance, which, I mean, right, is there ever really balance in your life? Daddy and carpool line. Going through menopause, or am I just exhausted?
Dining, things with kids, what
vasectomies.
To do.
I mean,
My favorite.
Lots of different topics, and mommy topics, daddy topics, but how to spice it up with your spouse, how to not be your friend's therapist. But the whole point is we wanted to offer information to the horrible carpool line people waiting and make it
the carpool line
better.
is not traditionally just the mom. Now we've got daddies, carpool daddies that are sitting there eager to pick up the kids at the carpool line, carpool grannies, and then part of the Carpool Talk Show segments are not your granny's granny, because grannies are hip now, aren't they?
Grannies
They're not
are
called
hip.
grandma.
No. I mean, actually, it's so funny. My mom goes by, my kids, all 3 of my children call her something different. I have my oldest that calls her Jackie, then we have Gammy, and then we have Dee Dee. And grandmas today, they're not knitting and rocking and doing all of this stitching, and they're having a good time. They're out there. They're in it, and they're in the sandbox. So we wanted to talk about what they're doing. They're gardening, they're cooking, they're taking the kids to Disney. They're having a good time. So why not include them in the segments? So it's fun.
My guest right now, Melissa Plaskoff with the Carpool Talk Show. And let's talk a little bit more about guests that are going to be on the show coming up for 2016, because the show started in November, so it's still a pretty new show.
And I have to thank you guys, because without the 2 of you, and obviously without Chris too, right? We would not really have a show. And I think the dynamic between the 3 of us makes it fun. And what do you think, Kevin? I know you're I can tell.
Well, I definitely feel like a rooster in the hen house when I'm in there. And you guys think I'm not paying attention, but it's not true. I'm actually keenly listening. And I'm getting a secret insight that no other guy will have. I will know more about women than any other man on earth.
We are making you a better man.
Show. That's right.
We're making you a better man. You're going to be a better husband one day. You will be a better daddy. When we were talking one time, we were trying to find a dad to come on the show, and we were like, Kevin, do you have a kid?
Yeah.
Do you know a kid? Do you know someone who has a kid?
Have you ever seen a child before?
Have you seen a child? Have you seen? Right.
Because it is true. I'm the guy that we're like, what is this guy doing here? He's not a mom. He's not a dad. He's never seen a carpool line before. But I think that's, gives me some perspective, gives me a viewpoint that nobody else has on our show.
But I think we all have different perspectives. I know we want to talk about our guests, but I think Sarah and I do offer different perspectives as far as, Sarah's a girly girl and she loves like ladies who dine and she's so sweet. And I'm kind of like a dude.
You're more like me.
Right. I mean, my poor husband is listening to this. Like it's Sam's, going, oh my gosh, my wife is out of control. But anyway, I'm kind of like not the norm. I really don't like to go to lunch with girls. I don't like talking on the phone. I like to text, and one-word answers are great. So I'm not all about the fluff. But I think that's what makes this show so unique.
It really does, because you really just let it all out there. There's nothing to hide with Melissa. And I was thinking about this last night. I'm just doing laundry, and I'm like, Carpool Talk is so great because it's just so real. There's nothing.
Yeah, we're not trying to make like one of our sayings. If you're looking for monogramming and gift wrapping, this show is not for you.
Yeah, it's not Martha Stewart radio.
No, this is not Martha Stewart radio. This is more like Howard Stern.
Let's talk about your Howard Stern love fest.
Yeah,
Kevin,
well, we both. I mean, that's why we knew we were soulmates. I mean, because we both love Howard Stern, and I wanted to. There's just not a show for really mommies. I know, really, anyone listens to Howard Stern, and if you're into it, it doesn't matter what sex you are. But I felt like there needed to be something that was super real. Okay, guests coming up. We have authors. We have nutritionists. We're talking about travel. We're talking about...
I like when you guys have gynos on.
We have another gynecologist coming on.
Nice.
We're talking about, with the urologist, not only are we talking about, vasectomies, but with the Kegels, because I guess there is a specific type of tool.
Right now.
No. But you're not doing it right, because you don't have the tool that goes onto your parts. I need to be careful, that actually shows you how to do the correct Kegel. There's actually
a tool?
There's therapy that you can use to see. This is what we're talking about. I would like to do visuals, but I guess that's not appropriate. But
hey.
I'm all for it. I went the most in-depth description as I can. This is very bizarre to me.
Again, nothing held back in the carpool line.
No, and I have to say,
podcast
today, I have to say, they're taking off. And I was just recently in an airport talking to someone, going through customs when you have nothing else to do. And this woman said to me, I wish I had known about the Carpool Talk Show on the first leg of the flight, because that's what I listen to. I download podcasts and I listen to them as I go around and fly for work or for pleasure. And I think it's interesting because people are telling me they're listening to the show while they're cooking. They're listening to the show on the subway. They're listening to the show in carpool line. But it doesn't have to always be in that moment where you're waiting for your kids.
And the topics that we're having are fresh and relevant. And let's talk a little bit about how we're hitting one carpool line at a time with our carpool giveaways and ambushes.
That's true. You guys are really pounding the pavement when it comes to the carpool line.
We are pounding the pavement. I mean, we've got to get our steps in with our Fitbit challenge. So
exactly.
This is another way to kind of tie that in. But
right.
Yeah, so we've had some fun people come out and support us and give us some free giveaways to give to people in line. And it's fun to show up at a carpool line for these people that have waited and they're having this look, and you show up with like a flower saying, hey, here's a free orchid. And they're like, how much is that? What are you selling me? They're like not rolling down the window. But when you explain to them, no, this is just a random act of kindness, they get really excited. So we're kind of doing that moment to make someone feel good, and maybe it just changes the outlook and they'll smile when that child gets in the car and change their day.
And it's so nice that the schools that have allowed us to hit the carpool line with all of our free giveaways is that they're like, yeah, bring it on. We feel bad for our parents that have to wait in this long line. We're trying to make it as least excruciatingly long as possible.
At first, everybody thinks you're soliciting something, but the more you do it, it's going to be like when you see the Red Bull truck on a college campus.
Yes.
Everybody knows you guys are giving out
I need to get my
stuff.
smart card now and get us going. I know. Next time we will wear Carpool Talk Show.
Will it be like an ice cream
t-shirts.
truck and have the music? Ding, 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 ding.
Nice.
Ice cream trucks freak me out.
Why, you think they're creepy?
A little creepy, and my kids are always like, why not? But I'm like, there's like this one man and
there's the lost art of the
tooth.
ice cream truck. I don't think Caleb has seen an ice cream truck in a couple years. I mean,
my kids will find an ice cream truck, even if, they will always scope out the ice cream truck with the creepy person in it.
By now, there's probably an app out there. Where's the ice cream man? Where's the ice cream truck?
Yeah,
There's also an ice cream man somewhere who wants to punch us in the face.
And that would be what would happen with my children. So I would... I'm like, well, we have something at home, or let me dig in my bag of tricks, and I'll find, like right now in my bag of tricks, I've got gummies and I've got muffins and I was giving Caleb gum, and I have all sorts of things. You've got to be prepared as a mommy.
You absolutely do. My guest right now, Melissa Plaskoff with the Carpool Talk Show.com. All right, because we just have a few more minutes. Let's talk a little bit about with this show and podcast and how to listen and how often are you on?
Okay, so right now we are scheduled once a week, and we tape our shows and at the Real News Communications Network at their studio. Thank you, guys. And we have a really good time. Next week, we actually have 2 shows because we are just so busy, and we are booked up and through March. And if you want to be a guest, if you have a hot topic you want to discuss, we want to know about it.
We absolutely do.
This is for parents, grandparents, nannies, whomever. And we want to know, do you want to talk about nutrition? Do you want to talk about carb loading before the big race? Do you want to talk about the best place to take your kids out or how to make sure they're not searching for bad things? I know you're listening, Parker, on YouTube. So we have all different sorts of advice. And
it's not just Dallas. We're national with our guests.
Absolutely. We actually have a guest calling in, 2 guests next week. We have one calling in from Costa Rica, talking about Costa Rica travel. And we have someone else calling in, an author from New York. So we are available nationwide, actually worldwide. So if you have a guest or if you want to be part of the ambush, let us know at carpooltalkshow.com. Feel free to find us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram at Carpool Talk Show. We'd love to hear from you.
Binge watch all the iTunes segments that we've had. And
you can download on iTunes. You have a YouTube channel, and it's kind of like my happy place. So I know you will smile, you will laugh, and you'll want to share the information with your friends because it's just not your typical show.
And Melissa, shout out to a couple of your kids before
okay. Hi, Hudson. Hi, Parker. Hi, Annabelle. I hope everyone's behaving.
Let's talk about the age differences
Okay,
here.
Hudson's 10. Parker will be 8 on Monday. And Annabelle, our surprise child, it's just 2. So we're having a good time. I'm a almost 41-year-old mama. And listen, we're making it happen. Back aches sometimes, but you got to do it.
All right. Coming up, our surprise guest, who just so happens to have been a carpool kid with the Carpool Talk Show. And it is my son coming up, Caleb Hill, on the Jeff Crilley Show. Don't go away.
More of the Jeff Crilley Show coming up.